So I'd like to hear one of your hard-hitting takes on something that marketers should retire leaving 2022 and going into 2023.
Well, this probably should have been done a couple years ago, but the reliance on Facebook as an easy button and as your primary social platform, Meta, generally, that needs to go. Not only has the world diversified in where our consumers' eyeballs are, but there's well-noted privacy regulations that Meta's really the center of in a lot of ways. Their stock went down 80% over the past 10 months for a reason. That's unprecedented. And if that's not a signal to advertisers that maybe that's not the one place that you want to bet on, that definitely should be it. But this should have happened. Advertisers should have been diversifying their social and digital media spend for a long time. iOS 14.5, I think, should have been a wake-up call to brands that were looking at last click attribution, seeing how much shift there was in what the platform reported versus what their back-end sales were showing. To say, hey, I'm very familiar with this platform, but this is not representative of the business results that we're looking for. There's not going to be an easy button. It's going to be challenging to create content that plays well on a half a dozen different social platforms and on dozens of different screens now. This is the time when the advertisers that do the hard work are going to be rewarded, and the ones that want to make it easy and simple are going to be downstream.
What about you, Sean?
I would have to, if I had to pick one thing, point to viewing CTV and OTT video as simply as a incremental video strategy. I think that historically, as it's been an emerging channel going back to say 2018, is how it was been viewed of like, well, we're going to put our budget here in linear as far as being on the big screen, and we're going to carve off maybe 5% of our budget for CTV and OTT as an incremental part of the buy. And there's still a lot of marketers that approach it that way. Whereas if we do the analysis of reach and frequency of a CTV and an OTT buy versus a linear buy, when we buy that channel the right way, we can attain reach, a greater extent of reach, and a more manageable frequency. To whereas with linear, we get this high frequency oftentimes to a very small pool of linear TV watchers. And all the data shows of people that are cutting the cord and so forth. So thinking of CTV and OTT as an incremental tactic within our large screen video buy is it's really going against the data, if you will, that it should be an integral or central part of advertising on the big screen, because it's so measurable and it's also targetable to attain the appropriate reach and frequency goals. Now, linear TV still has its place without a doubt, but they need to be looked at in tandem.
And in fairness to many marketers that had those separated, the measurement was separated for those as well. Now you're seeing the Nielsen's of the world coming together and saying, we're going to look at CTV and linear in the same language. We're going to transact on CPMs and not on GRPs. That's a big step to being able to compare those more in an apples to apples comparison. So, because when there's two different measurements, they end up naturally going to different places. There's less excuse now with measurement partners that are able to translate both, not just Nielsen, but several others that are pioneering measurement for TV, and you need to lean into that to be effective in 2023.